Right, okay. Let's kick this off. For those who don't know me, my name's Adam Johnson. I'm the owner and founder of the Webinar Company based in the UK. And basically, we make content with people like Jay, which is fantastic. Bit of background, me and Jay met via LinkedIn. Sounds like a bit like internet dating, I suppose. But kicked off on a conversation we had, and we were meant to talk for about, I don't know, say 45 minutes, an hour. We ended up nearly talking 2 hours. Yeah. Probably could have talked all night. So a brainwave of mine afterwards was, why don't we talk to more people and bring more people in? I think Jay, after a bit of flattery, I think Jay, after having a discussion with him, was fantastic stories, as you all agree, and very wise guy. And I thought that we'll bring some audience in and we'll have some questions just fired at Jay, tell some stories, have some laughs, most importantly, enjoy ourselves, which is what it's all about. So I don't know, Jay, if you wanted to give a bit of background to you, for, as this is recorded as well, for people that may not know who the Jay Jensen is, that'll be fantastic, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been in sales about forever. I joke and always say I sold Jesus his first camel, but it's been really fun. I mean, I'm here in the Midwest, and thank goodness for LinkedIn. You know, people always say something about LinkedIn, blah, 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 and it's not this and it's not that, but it's been a great opportunity for me to get and meet some people like, you know, Adam and JP and Bill and Collie. You know, Collie's a great guy, and it's been a lot of fun, but I've done a lot of sales. I finally did move into sales coaching, which has been very interesting. I wish I would have known about this sales coaching earlier, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I really appreciate the chance to, you know, talk to you guys. So
brilliant. Yeah, so what got you into sales then? Why? How did you? A lot of people fall into it, I suppose, like many of us have. How do you end up getting into what you do now? What's the transition from, you know, the early Jay Jensen to the coach that is now? What's that transition look like? What's that story?
You mean for like how I got into sales?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. When I was in college, I waited tables, and this guy bought this restaurant, and I mean, it was a fancy restaurant. We had to buy our own tuxedos, which I didn't quite understand, or I'd never taken the job, but it was in Blair, Nebraska, which is about 20 miles north of Omaha. Well, he decided to move the restaurant into Omaha, and he shut down, and I said, well, what am I going to do for a job? He said, well, do you want to sell timeshares? I'm going, well, I don't know how to sell timeshares. He said, it's easy, just do it. Well, you know. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. You know, I get to hang out with, you know, people, and that's how I got into sales. I had no idea I wanted to go for sales. So that's how I got started in selling timeshares, then moved into car sales.
Moved into cars.
So,
and what was it about car sales? What, you know, is it you love about cars, or, you know, why cars?
No, I got it here, dude. I was like 24, and I could drive cool cars. You know, I could take a demo. So that's why I got into that. So
cool. So you transitioned in sales. At what point did you know that actually you were almost good at it? I suppose it became, you know, the way your posts come across. They're quite natural, if I'm honest. You know, and when we last spoke, you were saying how you know, you find putting these stories together, I suppose, that people are finding useful, quite natural. At what point in part of the car sales process did you actually work out, you know, was there one moment where you worked out, actually, you know, I'm pretty good at this?
You know, not really. I always kind of thought I lucked my way through a day. You know, for the longest time, well, geez, I got lucky, but I was doing the right things. And then there was really no aha moment. I mean, maybe there was, but it was all of a sudden it just kind of dawned on. Well, I tell you what it was. It was when I moved from Nebraska up to South Dakota. And I went to work for a car dealership, and I was going, well, holy crap, I know a lot. You know, I'm pretty good at this. That's probably when I noticed it. You know, when you get out of one environment to another, it's kind of like when you're drinking at a bar, you don't think you're drunk, and then you leave, go to another bar, and you're going, holy shit, I'm wasted. You know, so yeah. So I went to a different dealership, and I was going, oh, holy crap, I know a lot of stuff. And that's when I was probably going, you know, I do know, I am kind of good at this.
And what is it about sales, I suppose, that keeps you going? Why have you stayed in the industry? A lot of people fall by the wayside, I like to say. You know, they have a good first year, or you know, get the soon adrenaline buzz, and then they go through a patch where it's not so good. It's quite hard.
Well,
you know, why? What is it that makes you still want to do it, and now teach others to do it?
well, dude, I don't know anything else, you know. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs when you first get started, you know. And I tell people when I talk about money, they're going, "Oh yeah, you do it for the money." No, dude, I love this. I did it and I'd take home a void check and hand it to my wife. Said, "Here, now make sure the kids get shoes and all the bills are paid, and I'm hungry." And she's going, the check that says void on it. Well, I know, but you're good with money, make it work, you know. But so it is. And you know, the thing is, I like to help people now is because hang in there. I mean, that's why a lot of times what I like about coaching is a lot of good salespeople don't get the training they need, and I see them go. And that's just not, I don't like to see that.
No. But no, is there a period of time in your career that you found it pretty hard? So for me, there's a number of stories I could probably tell where it was pretty crappy, and actually it wasn't as smooth sailing. But getting through that one episode part, they actually made me a better salesperson in the long run once I got that aha moment.
Well, I tell you, you know, I've always kind of been able to plug along and do okay. I always talk about, you know, I had personal issues sometimes. I had depression, I had drug problems and stuff like this, and I lost all, I couldn't get hired anywhere. And I was going, that's okay, maybe I need to get away from this and do something else. But it was kind of, I always say my little vacation at the Nut Hut. But you're sitting there and you group and you come back and going, no, I'm good at this. I like this. You know, it wasn't professional problems that made me get out of this. It was personal. And so when I did come back, I was stronger, you know, but then it was tough because everybody kind of gave me a chance to make it. I burned all those bridges, you know, and then I was kind of, yeah, no, I'm good. And yeah, we heard that 3 or 4 times from you. No, serious, this time I am. But It made me appreciate sales and work that much harder.
That, you know, how long did that period last for you? Was it a matter of years? You know, what age area were you?
Well, I think, you know, it's my wife always asks me that too. Now, when did this happen? I was going, I don't know. All the years are blur, you know. But I suppose it was about 2004, 2005 when I was kind of going through all that, you know, and like I said, I had to move up to the cities. That helped me, but it's so funny you say mindset, because when I moved up to the Twin Cities, that's Minneapolis, St. Paul, my mindset was, I'm going to do the best I can and I'm going to learn. And my mindset was, I'm going to get well and learn some stuff from I worked for like 4 or 5 different dealers up there. But the reason was I wanted to learn every one of their systems. You know, it was kind of like it was like a 2-year college education. But the mindset is, you know, I got to take pride in myself too. I was a piece of shit. You know, can we swear on these? No, but the mindset was, I want to get back to who I used to be. You know, and it's funny when you say mindset, because even with my prospect, I'm going through it now. Again, I got to readjust my mindset. My mindset is, God, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to prospect on LinkedIn because I've had people prospect me. But the mindset is, you got to get that switched around again. You know, but again, for me to get well, the main thing is you got to get well for yourself. I mean, that's just it. You can't do it for anybody else. You know, I tried that. Get well for my kids, get well for my parents, my wife, you know, my friends. And there was just too much pressure. I was going, you know, really, I just got to get well for myself. Yeah. And then the rest will fall in place. So.
Yeah, and I think it all boils down to, you know, of what actually when, you know, I probably don't teach a lot of sales techniques, I don't think, because the people that I teach, you know, are entrepreneurial sort of people really, and people that are probably more higher level, I suppose, than junior salespeople, but they already have the skills. And it's not, for me, it's not the skills that you're actually struggling with, else you wouldn't be doing the job in the first place. It's what's up here, and
Yeah.
actually saying what you're doing about personal pressures, in my view, is happiness. Probably puts it in a nutshell. Personal happiness. And I think similar to yourself, and hopefully you agree with me, it's a happy place, right?
Yeah.
Once you're with yourself, everything sort of just starts falling into place. And at what point in your career did you find that happy place? Did it take you many years to get to that point? You know, through your journey, or
Yeah. You know, and Collie, his little thing there too. You know, it's good that you the hard part is, I hate to sound like an AA commercial because I've never been to AA because that just makes me want to drink. They start telling drinking stories, I'm going, God, that sounds like fun. Let's go. But you know, it's once you know you have a problem, and it is. And Collie, I just respect you so much, and you know that. You know, I mean, Collie he's just like me. We're the survivor. We've been through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. You know, I mean, holy crap, we've seen it all. And but as much for my happy place, I'm happy when I'm in sales, but I don't like to get comfortable. You know, I don't want to. Does that make sense to you? It's, you know, I'm happy. I love it. I love going to work, but am I ever really totally happy? No, because that means I'm done trying to get better.
Right. Okay. It's quite interesting because I probably have a slightly different way of looking at it. For me, happiness is about acceptance and accepting the reality, I suppose. You know, I think, you know, if you're going to be successful within any form of sales, and this could be owning your own business, this could be working for somebody, this could be as a sales director, this could be, you know, working on a global scale. I think it's acceptance of the reality that times are pretty shitty quite a lot, and actually once you get used to accepting reality, you then become, there's nothing not to be happy about, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Where do you now get your stories from? So every time I read your post, it is very storytellish, if that makes sense. It seems to be like, you know, where do they come from? Are they picked from your background, I suppose, or?
Well, you know, and it's funny because I always tell people, you can tell my stories are true because I never end up being the hero at the end. You know, it usually ends with me doing something wrong. You know, if they were true, I'd be telling about how I saved the nun and the bus and all the orphaned kids, you know, going off the cliff. Usually I'm the one saying I put the tire on the bus and that's what fell off and drove the orphaned kids over the cliff. But it's funny is I don't really think about, an idea just pops into my head and then I can be able to relate it to some time in my past, you know, and it's lessons I learned. And I think that's what helps is my posts are never, if you ever notice, I'm kind of all over the place in them, but it's just whatever pops in mind. Sometimes I'll be at work and I'll see something, I'll go, crap, that reminds me of this when I was younger, and this is what I learned from it. But yeah, I mean, that's one benefit of being old is, you know, me, Collie, and Bill, we got a ton of stories, buddy.
Of course, could have done, or, you know, what would you tell the 20-year-old Jay now, I suppose? Is there any advice you would give? So if I was a young comes up to you and say, Jay, young sales guy, I want to do sales, follow you, I'll follow your story, it's really real. What advice are you going to give me?
Well, you know, I always say, first of all, the 20-year-old Jay wouldn't have listened to me because I didn't listen to nobody back there. Unless it was closing time, do you want another drink? I heard that. But, you know, I would like to say, you know, take your career more serious. I guess I was best where I had a couple good... Selling timeshares was probably the best thing in the world because I had, this back in the 80s, but I had salesmen from the 70s teaching me how to sell, and they took me under their wing and kind of mentored me and trained me. And the guy that owned the timeshare business, man, he was great. I mean, he would, he would teach me, and in front of a customer. One time he was walking around, I had some guy who was an electrician, and I was going, so how'd you ever get wired into that job? And he just stopped, and he comes back and went, oh, crap. He goes, why would you say that? And I go, oh, I don't know, just interesting how he got into, being an electrician, but it's always, but I had that. Then when I went into car sales, there was a guy, his name was, Dean Otis and Mark Collins. Mark Collins looked like Lauren Green, kind of the big old solid gray hairs, from Bonanza. And those guys took me under their wings and taught me a lot. So, but I guess I listened to them. Maybe they weren't the best influence on me, but they taught me how to sell. Maybe not the right way, but so I did listen. But for me, it might have been, take your craft more serious, because I was blessed where I don't know nothing about cars. I still don't know nothing about cars, but I sell myself, and they tell me how much power is there, what's the horsepower on this? Well, how much do you need to go 55? I don't know. Is that something that's important to you? Well, no. Then why'd you ask?
That point I find quite interesting, because I honestly, looking at the background from when I actually realized that I had a skill and a knack personally from this, I was actually working in the supermarket, funnily enough, and actually, being able to increase, and also, that part where actually I realized even though there is educational to learn more skills, and I'm not getting that there isn't, I do think there somehow is sometimes a natural instinct in some people that others find quite difficult. So like you're saying, and I like to think that we do things very similar, hence why we get on, is no matter what industry Jay Jensen would pop into, almost the technical gumph, I suppose, doesn't really matter, which I find fascinating, because a lot of people, I think, sometimes focus too much on whether an apple is pink, red, or green,
Yeah.
And that's what fascinates me a little bit. There is the advice you would give someone to there, that people that I've seen that struggle quite a lot are too buried in the technical details, maybe, rather than the natural of just relax, for Christ's sake. Just tell people you don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. I mean, in this day and age too, I mean, I'm not fooling myself. I mean, you got to be technical. It doesn't work if I don't care what I'm selling. Pharmaceuticals. What's the ingredients? I don't know. Just take it here. Try one, and you tell me what you think of it. It doesn't work. But that's why I always say in sales, for me, the most important part is when you get started, you ask the questions. What's important to them? Why do they want that? Because then you can just build off all of that. That's not a problem. But if somebody would come in and say, see, I tried to sell insurance once, and I'm sitting at this farmer's house, and the guy, farmer across the table, and I'm on his farm, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. That's before cell phones, and he goes, "Is this going to save my farm if I have a heart attack?" Yeah, sure it will. Well, dude, I don't really know. This is he's going, my family farm has been 3 generations. I'm going, dude, I can't screw this up. So I call my boss. I use their phone. And my boss tell him this, and whenever you leave, just take all the paperwork with you so there's no proof. That's what you told them. And that's when it dawned on me. I was going, well, dude, I can't do this. Is somebody's farm, Yeah. So, so the technical part, there's stuff I could say I can sell it all, but if there's technical part of it, I'm screwed, because they're screwed, because I'm not helping.
Yeah. Talk us through when you see someone walking down your forecourt, I suppose, you've got that 10 feet, go through what goes through your mind, how you get through that.
Well, nothing. And that's the thing, is I don't try to predetermine. I'll do this once I make eye contact. I always give a stupid wave, like this, like I'm, kind of pull back. I learned this. I was doing this. I didn't even know it was a trick, but it's just like I'm being, here, But then I look and see how the husband looks at the wife, and the wife looks at the husband if they turn away. But then you come up there, and if I'm not really sure, it's a stupid line, and they always say don't ask for we're just looking because that screws you. And I said, well, here's what I do is I just say, can I help you? And I want that just looking. And we're just looking. Well, that's why I came out here, you know, to tell you I've seen a lot of people look, and I've never seen anybody look as good as you at these cars. I just wanted to tell you that, you know, but that's what I do, and you kind of gauge off of that. But, you know, you can tell when you walk up and how they're dressed. If I need to be, you know, more serious, you know, people go, oh, God, you know, you're always like a bowl of Fruit Loops, dude. You're just, you know, like popping popcorn without a lid on it. You got stuff flying everywhere. And I go, well, that's me. I'm a 3-ring circus, 4 clowns. But you got to know how to do it. And if they do have, you know, technical questions, if I don't know the answer, it's just a good way to get them in too. It's just, you know, guys, you know what? I don't know.
What happens with the fact that there's got to be some stuff I know you obviously experienced in the field, and what happens when you come across something you don't know? You know, what's your approach then?
If I don't know?
Yeah.
You know, I just tell them, I go like this. Well, one is that I seem to be a likable guy, and I said, you know, you got a lot of technical questions, and I'm the wrong one for that guy. You know, you want me to get you a salesman that has all the technical. I can go great. I can grab you somebody that has all the answers. And then usually they go, nah, we'd rather just deal with you because you're an idiot and there's no way you're going to pull a fast one over us, you know. But if there is, I respect it. You know, I'll tell them, hey guys, let me write this stuff down, or better yet, let's go into the office, let's sit down, and then you tell me what you need to know that technical wise that I can do it. But then again too, you're taking control of the situation. You're doing what they want, but now I got them back at my table, and now I got control again. So it's, you know, but I want to make sure if somebody has an answer, it's important to them. That's why they ask, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. How has that transition found you now that you're actually having to go to prospect? Do you think that, you know, is there something that you find is you're finding, you know, something that you need to change the way you're thinking to go out there to find?
Yeah, it is. There's a couple different things as oh, by the way, Kali, yeah, I did spend time in Asia, and it's funny because I was liked in Asia, but the thing is because I treated everybody the same, you know. I've seen some of the Americans or whatever, you know, Caucasians, I guess you call them, but they treat them different. I still treat everybody the same. I mean, I don't care if it's the guy in the trike. You know, even if you get on those little motorcycles, a little 70cc, and you're hanging out of this guy is driving through there, I'm going like, dude, should I get you flowers and chocolate? Because he's saying, you know, grab my waist. I'm going, dude, this is kind of weird, but yeah, but you know, just always teach people the same.
Sure.
But like for the prospecting, it's tough, and the only reason is, again, a lot of my leads, I'm starting doing LinkedIn. Okay, I got a product that I believe in. If I didn't believe in this, I wouldn't do it. I've seen Sean Kelly is probably one of the greatest guys in the world. But excuse me, but I've seen what coaching can do. And even before coaching, I was going, guys, I'm tired of the process. You guys keep trying to fix the process when that's not broke. It's the people using it. So I believe in what I have. Me, it was the mindset was, well, geez, I got so tired of people always, you know, hey, thanks for connecting. Do you need light fixtures? And then, no, dude, I don't know, man. Do you need offshore calling people? You know, no, dude, I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I don't need your help, but thank you. You know, and I didn't want to appear to be one of those.
Sure. I've just seen that going wide. Bill's asked a good point. Yeah, I don't know if you can read that, Jay, and reply to Bill. Most people think they have to open with the best line possible. Jay seems to take a different approach. Ask him to describe that aspect.
Yeah. Well, and see, the other thing is too is these dealers have been hit up in 33 years. I tell people, and I sat through probably 30 different sales processes that were going to be, and they never worked. You know, and that's what we're doing now is when I call it, no, you know, you try to tell them we got a sales trainer. No, that's super, guys. That's great. You know, I'm happy you have a sales trainer, but does the sales trainer have time to keep working on their people? In the car business, the turnovers, the sales trainer, they hire 30 people. They don't care who they get. If they can fog a mirror and have a pulse and have a pen, they can sell cars. They train them for 2 weeks. send them out on the floor, and then they're all gone within a month and a half, 2 months, and they do it all over again. You know, so the problem is, the reason is they're leaving is because they're not getting the proper training or coaching on how to sell. And it's nobody's fault, it's the system.
Yeah. So the differences of what you're involved in now is more of a coaching aspect rather than a one-off knock-up training. And I think this is a big issue. You know, I've come from the L&D industry on quite a big scale. And I think one thing why we became successful, because we weren't one hit, fly in Superman, run a 2-day and disappear, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly the point. And I think there's so many of that out there. It's interesting just to know what you're involved in now and how that concept, you know, works. So, you know,
yeah.
explain that.
You know, and it's funny is because when we do talk to people, now I've listened to Sean and, you know, I've done some myself, but salespeople, well, even after the company quits paying for it, they'll pay for it themselves to keep going.
Sure.
And that says a lot about it, is that, you know, they see that they're getting better. And yeah, it isn't like, I think my post yesterday was, we try to always figure out, we have a bet, what was going to be gone first? The guy carrying the briefcase of money laughing he sold this program that doesn't work, or the program is itself, the process is out. You know, but we stay in contact with people and we coach them, you know, and then we follow up, and that's what it is. You can't, you can train somebody that lasts about 45 days and everything's gone. But if you coach people and find the answers and they find the answers, that's the neat part, is you kind of do, you're like a psychiatrist or something, you know. I want to pick up we're not getting enough referrals, I'm not getting see enough people, what can you do to fix that? And then have them kind of arrive to this, well, I don't know how to do it, and then they kind of come to it, but you're helping them. And once they think it's their idea, which it usually is, then they learn how to do it.
You know, what are you actually concentrating on? Are you concentrating on skills, upskilling, or are you concentrating on that whole mindset situation?
Well, you know, and the thing is with coaching is you start off on what do you want to work on today? And see, I have no agenda. It's what they want to work on. They realize they have a weakness, and that's the difference. How many times you sit down, okay, today we're going to learn how to take a 3-hour class on how to meet and greet people. Well, dude, I know how to do that. I already told you. You know, hi. You know, there, I'm done. Now let's go drink beer and have pizza for the next 3 hours. But you know, the salespeople, when they sit there and they know where their weakness is, and they have somebody that'll sit down and listen to them and talk to them and go through stuff. That's you know, that's the difference. And a lot of times they'll say it's not the manager's fault, it's not the sales trainer's fault. They just don't have time. You know, I can't think of, and Kyle, you'll probably even agree with this too, and Bill, is, you know, managers would love to be able to sit down and help their team, because once they succeed, that helps their job. You know, they learn how to do it. It takes a lot of pressure off the salesperson or the manager. You know, and Bill and Kyle, a good thing here in football, when the team fails, they sack the coach and manager. Why not in sales? You know why? Because usually it's the best buddy. It's the old boy routine. You know, it's, well, you know, this is my buddy. We've been drinking, playing golden tee golf at the bar for the last 20 years, and that's what we're going to do. And then what's funny is, if they do replace it, they put this guy that's failed, that's the manager, in another position, another manager position somewhere else, and he fails there. That's sure. But in football, you don't do that, or baseball, or rugby, or whatever you guys play over there. That's not a normal sport. You know, and it's funny because I'm reading Kyle here. Is what sources do I listen, read, watch, continue to fine tune your sales and leadership skills? None. You know, and I'm sorry. I've gotten some books. You know, some authors send me books now. And I'll read those because one's interesting. I want to know who they are, but I've never really, if it doesn't have comic books and the little bubbles where they're talking, I didn't read them. You know, I only read comic books or something, you know, Mad Magazine. But it's basically just what I've seen over the years. I'm going, dude, that's a bad way to lead. This is a good way to lead. This is why I like this guy. This is why this guy sucks. This is why he's not doing his job. It's just from there, it's just from experience that I've learned. you know.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point because we spoke about this when we last had our conversation about books.
Yeah.
I'm not a book reader. I
No.
get similar to you do to read, and now we've got this new business. We're having a lot of people send us their books, and quite frankly, I read half of one because I think in the bare bones they're telling you the basic skills, and I think nothing is they claim it's a real story, and I get all of that, but it's not reality. I think in some ways, and I think for as a sales leader, trainer, consultant, it's actually having conversations like this, which is where I soak up more learning skills, I suppose. And Carl, going back to that, your question here, it's conversations, I think, with people that challenge the way you think and your behavior. Is that right, Jay? Would you say that?
And it's funny about books is, people say we want you to write a book, and I've started it. I go, Unknown Title by Jay Jensen, Chapter 1. That's it so far. I got ADD. But mine would be different because it's actually, people say, I want your post, but I want to follow your post in order of where you learned this. And again, it's when you tell the story and then why this happened or who told you this and what I was doing at the time and this is how come I arrived at this. That's probably more effective than, I'd say if I do write a book, there'll never be any pie charts, any graphs, any data. All the statistics are going to be made up. I mean, it's there's going to be no footnotes. It's just going to be, yeah. I mean, I pulled one person and it's me, and I got a split personality, so it's either 50-50 or.
Depends which page you turn.
Dude, it depends on what mood I'm in, but yeah. But again, to your question, it's just, it's just experience. I mean, really, that's the only thing I got going for me. And Collie will answer that too, and Bill. Collie, I guarantee all his knowledge is not from books. It's what he's learned over his life by himself. So, and same thing with Bill. When I talk to Bill, the reason he's effective is because Bill can tell me, when I was doing the horses, when I was doing this, and when I was doing this is what I found out. And then it's easier picture than, some of the stories. Again, for me to believe a story, it's got to be true. I can tell when some kid's 22 years old and telling me, well, 15 years ago, I had this customer do this to me. I was going, dude, you were like 7, Yeah. But, well, I take my connections. I actually care. I mean, I've had people reach out and talk to me, and I'll try to help them. You know what I mean? Because again, that's what I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't even know what I'm doing on social media. I mean, it's a fluke that I'm even here today because, I mean, I had no preconceived notion. Well, I'm going to do this and this is going to happen. It was like, well, nobody's going to read this, and I know my mom doesn't have LinkedIn, so she's not going to read it. That'd be the only one that would, And then all of a sudden, it's like, even like Steve Burton, he's going like, and Steve is great. He's going, dude, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? I said, buddy, I didn't think this far ahead. What do you mean? I said, dude, I didn't get this is just kind of like, oh, what do I do? What do I got? A couple hours to kill? LinkedIn. All right. Well, maybe this might help me get a job in Asia. Blah blah blah. But so maybe I'm wrong. But when people do, I had one guy tell me once. He goes, man, my boss told me I got to set 66. It's like an unbelievable number of appointments by like in a month and a half, 2 months, and I can't do it. And that's just a big number. I said, buddy, just do one at a time and keep me updated. Just don't think about the 66. Concentrate on one. Get one, then worry about 2, and then he kind of checked in a few times, and then, get busy. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a month and a half later, he goes, I hit my number. Thank you. But cool dude, and I remember who he was, of course, because you could read the messages before that. But, but I was happy for him. But, people will message me, but I got time to help them. I don't care who you are. I mean, as long as it isn't, can you get me hired? And I do this, and I don't know anybody there. Can you look through my connections? Can't you look through your connections for me? No, dude. You got to help me a little bit. But But if anybody messages me, I try to help them, And but again, dude, I'm not smart enough to be fake. I wish I could be. Well, and that's it too. Is I'll tell about my problems. I'll tell about this, or I'll tell them when I make a mistake, and then if I write a post, yeah, there's some trolls, but you know what? Oh well, I mean, at least I made their day by trying to ruin somebody else's. But I've learned from people that disagreed with me. But again too, I don't take things personal. I mean, it's just
that's it.
What it is.
I think that's it, and I think that's the last point that I wanted to sort of have a discussion today is about taking things personally. And one thing I'm like a water off a duck's back, to be honest with you. I've received some messages from people that completely disagree with some of the stuff I've written, and I had a message with someone the other day that wanted to sell me something straight away, and I had a little discussion with them, but they got quite bolshy with it, and actually I think people take things too personally. At the end of the day, some of these people you're never going to see again, and I think don't let that knock confidence is probably what I'm trying to get at, and you just touched on that there, Jay, which is something that I think is massive, is the whole personal. I think people do take things personally, especially in the sales industry, which is not down to their skills, but that's where they tend to fail.
Yeah.
So it's just fascinating. I think we could talk for hours on end, and I think people will probably be long into the night before we'd ever finish. But I think that I'd like to really get to the fact that reason why I wanted to talk to you, reason why we wanted to create some sort of podcast for people to listen to a lot later in the day is the reality check of it, and I think that's really key.
Yeah.
Just to tie things up, I think.
Oh, we're done?
For podcast purposes, more than anything, how do people get hold of the Mr. Jay Jensen in the new role? What's your email address?
Well,
where do they find you nowadays in the real world?
Since most of these people be on LinkedIn, if you ever have any questions, just message me. Or you can always email me at, jay@carmotivators.com. But, I always say just get a hold of me. I mean, I don't care what your question is or whatnot, but if I can ever help you anything, because trust me, I reached out to Bill earlier this week, Bill Schomburg, and Bill was good enough that, it's funny because I called Bill and he answers it and he's going, well, oh my God, look at, I was just thinking of you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you. And he's like, what? No, and I started laughing, but, but I'm not afraid to reach out to people that are good connections, and Steve Burton's one, Daniel, Gavin. I mean, there's so many good people that reach out, but just if anybody has any questions about coaching or anything on sales, just message me on LinkedIn. That's great. Whatever I can do to help you. Sure,
cool. Well, we're probably time to wrap it up now. To be honest with you, I've got a lot of editing to do, but. Thank you for your time, Jay, once again. True gentleman and fascinating. I'm sure we'll have many, many more conversations and podcasts to come up. And, once again, I think it's credit to you that you keep it real, I suppose, as they say.
Yeah. And Kyle, I go to St. Louis a lot, buddy. I'll stop through Kansas City. I'll hook up with you. I'll take lunch.
There you go. He likes lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. They're supposed to have good barbecue there. So, yeah, but Adam, thank you. This has been a lot of fun. I'm never nervous about the podcast. It's just getting the technical part to get to the podcast, which always throws me off.
Yeah. No, and you know what? It's fantastic. We'll do many more, I'm sure, in the future, Jake. And once again, thank you guys so much. Thank you for the ones who have. We've only got a few left, but we've been going on a good hour now.
Yeah.
People, but guys, we've got all your email addresses. We had quite a few people sign up, register that actually wanted the recording, etc. afterwards. So give me a few days to edit it, and we'll get a full recording out to everyone that registered properly.
Yeah.
If not, there'll be miniature versions of this podcast over social media coming very, very soon. Once again, thanks, Jay. Love your company.
Hey, let me just tell you, is the full recording going to be like the miniature? I edited it, and this is what I got. This is Jay Jensen. Well, thanks, Jay, for your time. Everything else got cut out.
Exactly that. Yeah. And we'll just keep.
All right, buddy. Kyle and Collie and Bill, thank you, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Thank you.